Corner Shop exhibition was Sandwell Museum Services' contribution to the Corner Shop project. It enabled us to actually bring the project to a much wider audience, as it's been displayed in community centres, libraries, museums, shopping centres, civic buildings. So it will actually bring the project to many people within the local area and beyond. It was said that Britain was a nation of shopkeepers, and so therefore the corner shop and the independent small shop has been a British institution for many, many years, and we wanted to put that into the exhibition and show that the stories that we were told were part of this long continuation, but also look at what happens now. There's been a downturn in the amount of corner shops and independent shops because of the rise of the supermarket, and we wanted to tell those stories too, and how it affected those people whose stories had been told through the interviews, and that came out quite strongly. I think it's a brilliant way of being able to tell a story that is relevant to everybody in the local community. It's not about looking at the story of one particular group of people. It's about taking a theme that is relevant to everybody, regardless of their age, regardless of their gender, their social, their cultural background, and it's making it relevant to everybody. We've all got stories about our local shops, our corner shops, buying penny sweets, running shops. They're all things that we can all relate to regardless of who we are, and I think that's a brilliant model for a way to work with communities in the future.
We're now actually starting to script it as we go along, working with the cast. And we're doing that upstairs whilst the design team are busy downstairs, madly creating the set that we will be using. One of the key reasons that we're actually using the space we're using is because it's a disused shop. So we're actually working with the space we've got and creating the different sort of scenes within the space. So you work with it and you kind of create spaces suggested by the site you're working with.
In lots of ways, in this particular space, it's been better than working in a conventional space, because we was told that the building, we could do anything we wanted with the building. So, in fact, you use that site-specific nature of the building. The staircase is already there. The fact that we could knock down walls, we could paint the carpet, we could throw paint at the walls, whatever, it didn't matter. So in lots of ways, it's quite exciting to use that site-specific. I actually prefer working in this kind of environment than working in a theatre where often things are quite traditional, or kind of you expect something to happen in a theatre, whereas in an old shop you don't, and therefore to walk through those doors, those shop doors at the front, and then be confronted by a labyrinth of sets that take you on a journey, I think is far more exciting than sitting there in a theatre and in rows and watching a traditional piece of theatre.
It was dark, dusty and damp. The previous owners, they had left it in such a state, no sense of pride.
All right, it's a shoebox-sized shop, but from this shop we will sell to these people, these very people in this place, our place. We will sell the whole world of British journalism.
Fountains, spices, rice and peas,
Greeting cards,
garlic sugars,
pearl anniversary cards,
hallelujah,
silver anniversary cards,
rice and dal, penny bars, kielbasa, keposti kishonis,
cards for all occasions.
I think one of the key things that you have to remember is that there were over 30 interviews and therefore over 30 hours worth of material. And the only people I think that have listened to all of that is myself and Francis and possibly Bobby and Rochi, who's the writer. And so what we have to try and do is make sure that the themes that we think are important are included in it, and that everything is being reflected, all the materials being reflected. Obviously you can't get, you know, over 30 hours worth of material down into 1 hour, so you have to edit and you have to look for the commonality that starts to emerge. And one of the things that became quite clear really early on was that there was, despite the different backgrounds, despite the different ethnicities, despite the different countries that people had come from, their experiences were really very much the same, from the traditional white corner shop through to even the most modern that we've covered so far, the Polish and the newer immigrant communities. Everybody still seems to have the same experience, and one of those key things is the amount of hours that they have to put in, how they have to adapt to their environment, how they have to adapt to their community around them. And those things have been coming through all the time. So it's quite interesting. You start with a real diversity of experience, and it comes down to a real commonality of experience.
I open the shop at 5 o'clock.
I get up at 4:30.
Morning prayers at 6, then into the van.
Wake up 5:50.
Into the shop for 7.
Downstairs at 8.
Waiting for the bread. Wonderland, Derby, Sunderland.
I mean, I suppose one of the things that really excites me about it is that you're revealing those hidden stories, and it is that thing of you look at people and you sort of take them at face value, or you have preconceptions about those people, and as soon as you scratch the surface and you reveal those stories, they just reveal a whole world that's just so rich.
Bring that.
Breads and cake.
Rob from back home.
Polski's Club.
Didn't have a name.
It doesn't need a name.
New name.
New start.
I hand-painted my own sign.
S&M stores.
You can't call it that.
M&S.
A shop becomes a kind of place where people from that community can meet. It's also the public face of that community. It's also a way of that community embracing the wider community, and those are really interesting things, because they're so completely human, and they're so completely at the centre of human experience. We really, you know, it's a shop, but it's a world, it's a whole world, and that's really important, I think.
As evening papers, end of school rush, close at 6.
8.
9.
10.
Mop the floor,
Where the gym?
Down to the money.
Settle the books.
prepare for tomorrow.
Lights off.
Set the alarm.
I open the shop at 5 o'clock.
I get up at 4:30.
Morning prayers at 6, then into the van.
Wake up 5:50.
Into the shop for 7. Waiting for the bread. Wonderland, Derby, Sunderland.
Now, you're not like customers to me. You're more like a family, eh? Never to be forgotten.